Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. We are discussing today one of my favorite Rolex watches of all time, the greatest and the grandest. They don't come much more imposing than the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date II. Launched in 2008 and made through 2015, this 41mm Day-Date was the biggest ever of the so-called Rolex presidents. That said, this model, the 218206 in platinum, is the grandest of the grand. So, 41 millimeters in diameter. It is 12.2 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. It's 49.4 millimeters, but it's the end link to end link dimension that really sets this apart from the later Day-Date 40. It is 53.5 millimeters from solid end link to solid end link, giving this watch an incredible stance and presence, and has a nice broad 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll pop open the clasp. It is a crown clasp. We'll throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist and get a sense of how the biggest so-called president wears. Now, of course, the watch is called the Day-Date, the bracelet is called the President, but the watch will forever be associated with its illustrious, famous, and occasionally infamous ownership history, which includes both presidents and presidents for life, hence the nickname Rolex President or Presidential for the model. And you can see, it looks presidential. The Day-Date II is absolutely enormous, with the span across the wrist worthy of a 44mm Panerai. I recommend your wrist be at least my size, 16 centimeters circumference, in order to wear this watch. Now you can see it is remarkably low slung with a conical bezel, so it will slide underneath the cuff, and it's just an incredible watch. The feel of it is unsurpassed with a mass of nearly 300 grams, and you can see it is all platinum ultra white. Rolex has its own foundry, it makes its own cases, bracelets, and clasps, and what sets this one apart is that this was the first Rolex model ever to feature ceramic-coated bracelet pins. So only on the Platinum Day-Date II, there were ceramic-coated pins inside the bracelet, the idea being that the platinum links can't wear down those ceramic-coated pins, and that kills Rolex bracelet stretch dead. It's a problem with older Rolex Day-Dates with President bracelets, and it's not a problem on this. Now, every version of the Day-Date 40 gets that ceramic pin treatment, but among the Day-Date 2s, it was only the platinum. Of course, the bracelet has always been formally named the President since the original Day-Date launched in 1956, so the watch is nicknamed President, but the bracelet properly is the President. It's a three-link design with good physical integrity. It's more solid than the Jubilee while still being a short-link dress bracelet. We've got a conforming end piece. We've got a little bit of a taper down the links, polished center, satin shoulders. The outer faces are polished. You can see removable links on both sides are fixed in place by screws. And then we have a thick gauge clasp that's alternately polished and media blasted. It is the crown clasp, so you know the partition point between the two sides by the 5-point coronet. That's your only sign. And then it has a little pivoted lock, so you have a beak and a hook system. This is not a friction fit snap shut crown clasp like in the past. This one actually has a lift lock disengagement system, so it's quite secure. Handsome oyster case, large and in charge, polished lug hoods, polished case flanks, screw down crown, 100-meter water resistance, solid Rolex oyster case back. You know it's a twin lock crown in platinum because it has one dot on it, a broad conical bezel, and then a dial that features a lovely sort of grooved track underneath the numerals. And you can see underneath that concentric, we have conventional ice blue Rolex Platinum dial. So ice blue is a color Rolex reserves for the dials of its platinum watches. It has grown a little bit darker and more intense over the years. It used to be almost indistinguishable from silver. So we have ice blue in sunburst at center, and then we have the concentric pattern underneath the extravagant blued Roman numerals with the watchmaker's 4. We have blued hands, then we have a conventional white gold Rolex coronet with a little track outboard for reading the minutes and the seconds. And this watch is a double quickset Day-Date. It features the ability to quickset both the day and the date. And you can see we have a hacking or stop seconds function. Now I'll show you the quickset. It's a double quickset where you can set the date and you can set the day by turning the crown in different directions in the intermediate position. Inside the case, we have a unique movement only ever used in this reference. It is the reference 3156. It's a little bit different from a standard 3155 that you'd find in a 36mm day-date. It has Rolex's proprietary shock absorbers, Paraflex, as well as larger day and date disc. It's a bidirectional automatic winder with a 48-hour power reserve, a 4 Hz beat rate. It has 31 pivot joules, and it is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. The movement features a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for shock tolerance, and that overcoil hairspring, which is Breguet style, is made of an anti-magnetic niobium zirconium alloy that makes the watch highly resistant to magnetism. That overcoil is made by hand, and it helps to center the mass of the hairspring. An overcoil has a more centered mass than a flat hairspring, which help the watch keep excellent time in any physical position. That's the advantage of the overcoil. It helps to center the mass and improve timekeeping in every physical position. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.